Boy, the way Glenn Miller played.
Songs that made the hit parade.
Guys like us, we had it made. Those were the days.
My mother has a unique ability to connect to people.
It's really a sense of love, of being loved, and the deep sense of someone caring about me and wanting the best for me. And for that, I'm very grateful.
And you knew when you were there.
Dance for girls and men were men.
Uncle Ezra does not waste his breath.
He's very modest and he's very quiet. And it runs through his genes.
He always has a wise thing to say.
The Shabbat table or whatever can be noisy with all these people talking all of the time, and then my father talks, and he talks in his slow, deliberate way, and it's completely quiet because everybody wants to hear what he has to say.
Mister, we could use a man like Herbert Hoover again. Didn't need no welfare state.
There was a special connection between Ora and Ezra before Ezra was born.
She and Ezra are very alike, and they're very occupied with big issues in life.
It's a very strong bond.
Everybody pulls his weight.
Giarola, sour and great, knows what a day.
My mother was born in New York City. My father was born in Poland, but when he was 8, his family came to America.
My father's name was Harry Levin. My mother's name was Bertholda Bendiger Levin.
And he was brought up in Philadelphia, but he moved to take his higher education in New York.
And he was an absolutely incredibly marvelous man. I was so lucky with my both parents. They were wonderful. He became a lawyer in New York. And my mother was a suffragette in the streets fighting for the right of women to vote.
And she went out with placards, give women the vote. And of course, you know, they finally got it. But it was a hard road to hoe.
God bless America, land that I love.
However, she was brought up in a family that was not well off at all, and she knew she had to work. So she began working as a bookkeeper, and later she learned how to be a credit manager. And she was the first woman credit manager in New York City in those days. So she was quite an independent young woman by the time he met her.
Both were active in what was then a movement, which was the Young Israel movement.
There was a group of active people who wanted to establish a kind of non-Orthodox organization for people to come and daven without a big mechitza. They were like very liberal young people in their 20s.
They got married in 1920. Tova was born in 1921, David 1924, I 1927. They lived first in Borough Park and then in Manhattan Beach.
She was active. She became head of her local Zionist chapter or region. She became active once again when she went back to Jerusalem, the Committee to Beautify Jerusalem.
In 1928, they made Aliyah to Palestine.
People thought they would never see them again.
They took their 3 children and they came on Aliyah. They came on Aliyah. They lived here in Jerusalem. They lived in that house in Rehavia. So I was born in what was then known as Valachs. It was a private hospital in the old city, which became Sharei Tzedek. And they loved it. They loved Jerusalem. They loved everything.
Jerusalem, she would say, is my city.
In 1929, everything crashed. I mean, the world market crashed. And my father, who had been doing very well as a lawyer in Manhattan, was not really succeeding financially here in Palestine in 1929.
In 1932, we moved to America.
Goodbye, my friends. I'll see you all in dark of Ora.
We lived in Borough Park.
Anyhow, for them it was very tragic that they had to go back. They came with 3 children, they went back with 4, which was me. So we came back to New York, and I was like very famous because I was like a sabra in a time when there were no sabras in America.
In 1934, February 10th, Ezra was born.
Older brothers, David and Jonathan, they scared her and they said, now everybody love you because that you're the smallest, but now you're gonna have a little brother. He is gonna take over and he's gonna get all the presents and everything. And they were like trying to scare her. And then she told us, she said, but I didn't care.
She said, I'm gonna get a present. You're not gonna get anything. I'm getting a little brother.
I was the youngest, the baby, and so had an inordinate amount of attention probably.
I was so happy to get him. He was like, I was the little one for a number of years, and suddenly there's a darling little brother.
When Ezra was about 4 years old, in front of Macy's, there was what I called a machine. Ezra had difficulty in those days drinking his milk and his orange juice. So the green hydrant represented milk, because cows eat grass. And the red hydrant represented orange juice. So I would stand Ezra in front of this so-called machine. He was only 4 years old at the time. He was gullible. And I said, Ezra, this machine can tell if you drank your orange juice this morning or your milk. So we had a song that accompanied this. I'm going to sing, Jonathan and I will sing the song, very short song. Ezra, you can fool Mama and Papa, Tova and David, Jonathan and Ora, but you can't fool the machine.
We played punchball in the street. We went skating in the street.
I tagged along.
When people were playing, we make up a team, who's going to be on whose team.
But Ezra, he's too little. Or it said, Ezra plays.
He plays.
I would always say, and he's playing, that's Ezra. He's playing, because he had to be in it.
Nobody said anything. They couldn't, with a statement like that, Ezra plays, okay.
I felt very protective of him, because he was little.
They managed to have him be with the group in some way, so that he wasn't in the way when people came running around the bases.
He had a very solid group of brothers and sisters behind him. You know, David taught him football. I mean, everybody taught Ezra something. And so he always felt very powerful because of his family and the way it rallied around him.
The family, the 5 of us, were kind of a community. And they were all kinds of in-jokes and things that were part of the scene, and it was a very warm community, and we were very fortunate to have that.
The sweet, sweet memories you gave me, you can't beat the memories you gave me.
Take one fresh and tender kiss.
The memories you gave me.
Add one stolen night of bliss.
There was certainly a special connection between Ora and Ezra. One needs to remember that from a certain point, they were the only 2 siblings at home, while her older siblings were away. And then they experienced the trauma of their father's sudden death.
My father died. I was in Yud Bet. And Ezra was not even bar mitzvah. I was 17, he was 12.
Tova, the oldest sister, was a madricha in Mexico City at that time. And the two older brothers, Jonathan and David, were in the army. So who was left at home? Ora and Ezra.
Well, Grandma was a very unusual woman. She lost her husband when she was 50, which means that she was a widow for 48 years. Much longer, almost twice as long as she was married, which was for 25 and a half years.
And this was a terrible blow to Ora's mother. She kept saying there's no way she can go on.
Ezra said to his mother,
"Don't worry, Mama. I want to take care of you."
No, I won't be afraid. Oh, I won't be afraid. Just as long as you stand by me. So, darling,
The strange thing about it, that's actually what happened.
He said that he was able to look at other male figures, like his brothers, for example, his older brothers, as models for how to conduct oneself. And, you know, Uncle Jonathan and Uncle David were two amazing people to have on your side.
or the mountain should crumble to the sea, I won't cry, I won't cry.
And thereafter, it was the three of them living, maintaining, surviving, reorganizing their life and living in closeness.
Where do I begin to tell the story of how great a love can be? The sweet love story that is older than the sea. The simple truth about the love she brings to me. Where do I start?
How did I meet Ora?
She met Yitzhak during our hours at the showman. She was very active, very involved, and he was too. And they clicked.
There'd never be another love, another time. She came into my life and made the living fine.
I just came in and they were dancing the Ora, and one young lady was dancing with abandon, one might say. So, oh, she takes dancing all the way. I was very impressed with that. And not to say that I had a high impression of her beauty, and so I somehow got myself introduced to her.
And his story is, he saw me dancing and he fell in love with me. No. And when he was 20, his father, who was in California, sent him a birthday card with a $5 bill inside and said, celebrate your birthday. So Yitzhak said to me, would you like to go to a Broadway show? I have money for tickets. So I said, sure. I'd never been to a Broadway show. Now he lived up in the yeshiva, which is Washington Heights in New York, and I lived in Flatbush, which is way down. We met outside the box office at whatever time you're supposed to meet. I'm happy to see him, he's happy to see me. We go toward the box office. Yitzhak begins to go like this. Uh-oh. What? I say, what? I can't imagine what's the matter. After about 5 or 6 minutes, he says, I think I left the tickets at home. I have just traveled an hour and a half on the subway, and he is, I think, what am I going to say now? So I say to him, because I really liked him, I say, it doesn't matter. We'll sit down, we'll have coffee. The main thing is we're talking to each other, right? It doesn't matter. Don't worry about it. It turns out that was a test. Because he knew that he always forgot things, and he was testing me to see how, if I made a big fuss, I wouldn't be fair. It's a pretty funny story. So I said, okay. So after he saw this, he said, wait. And he took out the tickets and we went in. And I didn't realize that it was a test. I would have smacked him. But I passed.
I know I'll need her till the stars all burn away, and she'll be there.
He said to me very early on, one thing you have to know, I'm not sure I'm a good candidate for marriage because my parents had a very unhappy marriage, he's telling me. They're always fighting, and I once read that people from unhappy homes are not good candidates for a marriage. So I said to him, you don't have to worry about it because my parents' marriage was so happy it's good enough for both. So he said, okay. So that was it.
There's something very inspiring about the level of love and care that they lavish on each other.
Beautiful wedding. They both looked like kids, and they were. They really were. But who am I to talk? I got married at 20.
Again and again, thank God that we were lucky. We met each other when we were young. We didn't have a penny. We didn't have a profession. But we fell in love and we went with it. And we built a happy, despite what he was worried about from his own background, we built a good family, a happy family. And our children seem to me to be okay.
We got a very small one-room apartment in Brooklyn. Our oldest son was born, and the landlady said, this is a facility for a couple, not a couple with a child.
So my mother said, come live with me. She had a big house. So we did, and it was worked out for everybody.
My sister Ora and husband had one room, and I think Tzvi and I were in another room.
I lived there with my parents for several years, and then when I was 5 and my next sibling, Noam, was expected, we moved to a house of our own.
We bought a house together.
We lived in the ground floor. Shani lived one flight up with her family.
And the top was like an attic. It was rented out, I think, to some Italian family who never could understand how it was that my smaller brother was called no one.
Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowd.
He was sporty, but he also was an editor of the paper, and those two things come together, I feel, in him having met Jackie Robinson.
My father was a very good athlete.
He played basketball. Even in college, he played basketball.
He gives tips on basketball and throwing. He's good with he knows the positions you need.
He taught me how to catch. He taught me how to throw. He was very into getting me into sports, and then I played with him some chess.
And was a good student. My impression of him is that he really was very all-rounded.
I met Israel Francis, and we then both worked at a hotel in the mountains as busboys, the Pineview Hotel.
He who told me who are the owners of a religious summer hotel, with the one.
And we interviewed on West End Avenue by the owner of the hotel, and the kids who were not being interviewed were in an adjacent room, and kids would come out and would say, what'd they ask, what'd they ask?
In order to get experience, get the job, whether it's a busboy or waiter, they want you to have experience.
It was a question of where'd you work before? What kind of experience do you have?
You have no choice, you have to lie.
Gave two answers. One was of a hotel that was a rival. So one hotel would never call the other hotel about a reference for reference. The other hotel had burned down during the winter, nobody to call.
You have no choice, you have to lie. When you go to the dog, I need the money.
People around Columbia were talking about an opportunity in Camp Ramah in Wisconsin, and it was an opportunity to go to Wisconsin, to go out of New York, which was helpful. And I did that and became the sports counselor.
I went to davening the first Shabbos, and I never saw his face. he was davening Kabbalat Shabbat, and I turned to the person next to me and I said, "Who's that?" And then when I saw his face, that was fine.
And she said, this is her, talking about the issues of Kol Isha. She said, well, there's Kol Ish also. And your father's voice was Kol Ish for me. That was what got me interested in him.
Maresy dotes and dozy dotes and little lambsy divey, a tiddly divey too, wouldn't you? Yes, Maresy dotes and dozy dotes and little lambsy divey, a tiddly divey too, wouldn't you?
We went out on days off together, and that was made possible by the fact that she had a car. We would go to different parts in Wisconsin.
And at the time, my mom was going to college in Wisconsin, and she transferred to Barnard College, which is a part of Columbia University.
The second year that we were at camp, that he was going to be drafted, and so he joined the reserves from Racine, Wisconsin. At some point in that year, we decided we should get married.
Will you? By your side I'll be. Pretty lady.
The wedding was very beautiful.
Will you marry me? Will you? By your side I'll be. I take this time to be a toast to my baby. I take this time to make a toast to my baby.
Batya and Ezra clearly have a very warm relationship, very, very supportive.
My father's more of an introvert, more quiet, and of course my mother's more outgoing and extroverted like that. So they do complement each other.
He has a very unique way of looking at things, and he's very thoughtful, very sensitive and receptive, and he's always full of surprises.
I got married after I graduated from the law school and after I served in the Army.
I think that being a lawyer made my father happy.
First job was with a small firm, and then I moved to a firm called Marshall, Bratter, Green, Allison, and Tucker. And I was there for probably 18 years, became a partner.
One day he came home and he said he had a big announcement. He was leaving Marshall Bratter. Now, we don't like change. So our reaction was, we don't want you to leave Marshall Bratter. We like things the way they are. And he said he didn't want to leave either, but then they made him an offer. At that point, you really got a sense that, he's probably a pretty good lawyer.
And he took a whole lot of very important and very time-consuming communal jobs.
When he was younger, he was involved outside of the Jewish community in civil liberties causes and causes about racial integration in America.
He was very active in the Soviet Jewry movement, and he became head of the coalition for Soviet Jewry. We marched in parades, we did a lot of things. He went to the Soviet Union in 1974. They tried to get into prisons. They went to places where there were refuseniks where they were not allowed to be. He became chairman of the Jewish Community Relations Council of Greater New York.
He was very active in the Hebrew Free Loan Society.
Also now he's involved in the Jewish Free Loan Association, which is something that he feels very, very strongly about.
I knew he was working on some very tough problems at work, but the minute he got home, nobody would ever have known there was anybody but the kids in his life. He would get them, he would take them outside, he would teach them football moves, he would teach them how to play basketball or whatever. He was always much more than a lawyer.
When Zvi was 9 and Noam was 4, and we wanted another child, which we had Nafa, we felt now it's time to go. My parents had come in 1928 with 3 children. So 30 years later, I kind of repeated that dream of Aliyah, and in 1958 we came.
Mama, Bertha, came there in 1961, but my parents were still in Tel Aviv. But in 1973, they moved to Jerusalem, and from that time, they would be with each other one way or another on Shabbatot, and later on, actually, they both moved with the great help of Ezra to the apartment on Chovevei Tzion, where my parents live until this day.
There was a high school in our neighborhood in Tel Aviv, about 5 minutes walk from our house. So I decided I'll go there and see, maybe they need an English teacher. I figured I can teach English.
She is a naturally gifted teacher and a genius as an educator.
I was interviewed by a woman who turned out to be an absolute, I don't want to use the word, but so she interviewed me. Yes, she needs a teacher, but she doesn't like American accents. She's really looking for somebody with a British accent. That's the accent she likes. I said, you have anybody with that accent? No, she said. So very reluctantly, she had to hire me.
So she went and she stood on the table, and everybody stood. They got so excited to see the teacher standing on the table. And she said, okay, we're going to play Simon Says. And they played that game and they learned spoken English. And the principal passed by and saw her standing on the desk. She came in and she said, so that's my teacher? Does she not have respect for herself? Does she not have respect for the classroom?
How mean she was. She said, Americans, how are you going to know how to deal with an Israeli mentality? I know Americans, it's all chaos. Everything goes, it's wild, their classrooms are wild. I never had a wild classroom in my life. Anyhow.
And she learned about herself, not only that she was a good teacher, an excellent teacher, but as she matured, she said she has got plenty to teach to other teachers.
So I came to Bar Ilan and I was in charge of Haksharat Morim LaAnglit. I got a call from the Ministry of Education saying, listen, we've heard good things about your thing, and we're getting a very famous educator from America who has written to the ministry that he wants to come to Israel. He can only come in the summer. What's the guy's name? They told me his name, Dwight Allen. I almost fainted because I knew his work. I knew his books.
Dwight Allen was a real educator.
So I said, we'll grab him.
And he saw how she worked.
And he had lunch with me, and he said, what are your plans? I said, my plans? I have no plans. I'm doing what I like. I have 3 children.
You got to come to study with us, and you'll learn from us, and we'll learn from you.
And I will give you a full tuition scholarship, plus a stipend to live on.
This is July. You got to make up your mind fast.
We talked it over, and the rest is history. We accepted.
Her intuition led her to accept the belief, which was presented to her professionally by Dwight Allen, that teaching skills could be improved and taught to people.
And it doesn't matter what you teach. We can help any teacher to become a better teacher. They're teaching physics, they're teaching Chinese geography, those are my first clients. Whatever they teach, it doesn't matter. That's what I learned from him.
And she had an idea. And the idea was to get a group of very good teachers and let them meet once a week for a year and listen and go along with her on the program that she planned to show them how to become leaders of groups of teachers.
אורה התחילה בשנת, אני חושבת 77. להגות את הרעיון הזה יחד עם ראש בית ספר לחינוך באוניברסיטה העברית, ששווה להקים מרכז שנקרא המרכז לשיפור ההוראה.
I got 10 people and we trained them for a whole year and they became the staff, and then we started offering workshops.
Well, first of all, it spread all over Israel.
First year I think we gave maybe 15 in different places, Kiryat Gat and Haifa and all over. And we gave one to the Druze, and we gave one that we had a group from principals, teachers from Gaza.
מהדבר הזה התפתח משהו כלל עולמי, שהתפשט על פני כל העולם. זה היא. זה רק היא.
She was very interested in the first one in Australia to show them the idea of a mechanech that they have in Israeli schools.
And that began our whole love affair with the Marechet Chinuch Yehudi in the world.
Over the rainbow, way up high, there's a...
We went to Australia, we went to England, we went to South Africa, we went to Canada a lot. I went once to Mexico alone, and it was wonderful.
Over the rainbow, skies are blue.
I grew up on LaSalle Street, and I think that was another interesting choice that my parents made, and they were conscious of making, that it was not the obvious choice for upper middle class Jews to be living across the street from Harlem in what people considered a dangerous neighborhood at the time. It was part of their values that we should grow up, with, I think as my father said, African Americans in the elevator as fellow tenants rather than as the elevator man.
We were also just across the street from the Jewish Theological Seminary, and so we went to shul there every Shabbat. And of course, no matter how busy my father was, come Friday, he was going to be home for Shabbat.
As a father, I think very, very affectionate, wanting to know about things, wanting to pass on messages and values. I think wanting to set an example, also having fun.
My father's got a dry sense of humor, which I definitely have inherited.
I have very strong, consistent memories of him lying in my bed with me to say Shema. And we would say Shema in Hebrew, and we would say Shema in English. And then he would say, please look after my family, and they are. And it would start Grandma Bertha, Aunt Tova, Uncle Yehuda, Varda, Levia, Uncle David, Aunt Arlene, Hanina. And through this, I knew all of the family, all of the cousins, even those who I barely saw. I knew who they all were. And then, somebody would get married, and then that person would be added in. And there would be a baby born, and that baby's name would be added as well.
He is very involved with his children and his children-in-law, his child-in-law, and his grandchildren, and he loves to hear about what they do.
Beating a new world record for how many kisses he could give them on each cheek and in what amount of time. And they need to count, or they need to time, and what number is he going to get up to. And he did that with us too. He has certain stories. Charles and the bird with the broken wing.
The nice thing about this family is that people can really relax with one another. And so it's a very literary family. It's a very musical family. I mean, and you see it coming down through the various components of the family.
Until I was 8 years old, I grew up pretty much as an only child because Nava and Tzvi and Noam were so much older than me that I barely remember having a normal experience of siblings in the house. And then the grandchildren started showing up on the scene, and they would show up wearing t-shirts, and the t-shirts would say Kaitanat Zohar, the Zohar camp. And this was an amazing experience for me because I went from being an only child to being a counselor in a camp.
She had a genius project called Safta Day that kind of gave me and all of the cousins an anchor of family, meeting once a week with all the cousins.
And coming to Safta Ora and eating the spaghetti and the milk products and the soy products and it gave us a source of strength, I think, for us.
But also makes it for a very powerful feeling of being loved and being accepted and being part of something, which I'm sure is significant for all of us.
זה מאוד סבתא, כאילו, נורא לדאוג שהכל בסדר ולדאוג שהדברים שלך שמגיעים לך, יש לך, ולדאוג שטוב לך.
You know exactly what to say to each and every person, and it's incredible.
היא הדבק שבמשפחה, היא מחברת בין כולם.
Safta Day is a very important thread in our children's lives.
My connection with Aura, with Aunt Aura after Safta Day, is much closer than it would without it. We have this thing of highlights, and we say the good things that happened in the week, the grades we got, or friends we saw and that we didn't see for a long time, stuff like that.
There's a fun atmosphere in Safta Day.
למרות שלסבתא יש 14 נכדים עכשיו, שזה הרבה וגם נינים, היא ממש יודעת לתת לכל אחד תחושה שהוא הכי מיוחד בשבילה.
We live in Israel, and Uncle Ezra lives in America, in New York in fact. But this mouse lives in France. That's far away.
אחד הזיכרונות הראשונים שלי הם שאחת החברות שלי באה איתי לסבתא די, והיא הייתה בהלם, והיא הייתה כל כך מרוצה ממה שקורה, ועד אז לקחתי את זה כמובן מאליו, באים, משחקים עם בני דודים, והולכים הביתה. ואחרי שהיא כאילו, לראות את זה כאילו מעין מבחוץ, הייתי בכיתה ב' או ג', ולראות את זה מבחוץ של מה, וכולם באים, וכל הבני דודים, ואתם משחקים, וכולם ואתם מתראים, איזה יופי, ואיזה כיף, והספגטי, וכאילו היא הייתה בהלם, והיא כל כך הייתה מרוצה מזה, שאני חושבת שהיא חזרה גם במהלך השנים. אבל זה באמת, אתה מבין כמה זה מיוחד.
תמיד הרגשתי שסבתא היא חברה שלי. גם בגיל מאוד צעיר היא התייחסה עליי כבוגרת, והרגשתי כאילו, יש לי את הדיבור בגובה העיניים, ותמיד הרגשתי מאוד קרובה אליה.
Those early days of Safta Day in the 70s and the 80s and the 90s were the peak of my grandparents' career, of Safta Ora's career, of Saba Yitzchak's career. Safta was a big teacher in the university back then.
At the university, they always knew Ora can't teach on Thursdays because that was Safta Day. And all the kids came every week.
It really took immense time with them. Other things were not so important.
Always happy to take the children. Something of a sense of a tribe that she's leading, that she's behind.
She has unconditional love for her family, for the people around her.
בשבילי אורה היא דוגמה, איך אפשר לחיות גם בזוגיות טובה וקרובה ואמיתית, וגם להיות בהגשמה מקצועית.
I have been so lucky, Alon, such richness. People who would say to me over the years, aren't you proud of your work? I said, I'm very proud of my work, but the most important thing in life is my family.
Our life together is so precious. Together we have grown. We have grown. Although our love is still special, let's take a chance and fly away somewhere alone. It's been too long since we took the time. No one's to blame. I know time flies so quickly. But when I see you, darling, it's like we both are falling in love again. It'll be just like starting over. Starting over. Every day we used to make it love. Why can't we be making love nice and easy? It's time to spread our wings and fly. Don't let another day go by, my love. lost alone. Take a trip somewhere far, far away. We'll be together all alone again, like we used to in the early days. Well, darling, it's been too long since we took the time. No one's to blame, my little time flies so quickly. Like starting over, starting over. Look out, our life together is so precious. Together we have grown. We have grown. Still special. Let's take a chance and fly away somewhere. Starting over.
I'm wishing both of you many more happy years of health, surrounded by healthy loved ones, enjoying yourselves, relaxing, having a good time together, having a good time with friends and family, and I love you.
So, Ima, first of all, I would like to wish you Mazal Tov, happy birthday and your 85th birthday. Sorry for you for the last few months where you've been feeling pain, and I hope that the next few years, decade, however long you choose to continue, you will have much less pain and much more nachat and enjoyment, and be able to do things not only with your voice and talking, but also with your body. And I hope and wish that the book that Israel's been helping to write, to edit with you, comes out very soon. I understand that there's some very wonderful things there. And I'm going to say something a little bit interesting. As you know, the last few years I've been in courses and training that to do with spiritual care. And one of the times we had to do a meditation, guided meditation. How do we imagine ourselves dying? And I know you were saying, well, thank you very much, but yes. And the image that came to me was being, probably a lot of people have that, but being quite old and having my grandchildren and great-grandchildren around me, and looking back at a full life. And I think that certainly when the day comes, you'll be able to do that and look back, and a wonderful life, and you have your children and your great-grandchildren, and they all know you and care about you. So I really wish you health, nachat, and you together with Abba, as long as you both can stand it. And I would like to also wish for Uncle Ezra happy birthday. Thank you for, like I said before, being hospitable to us and making your home ours whenever we're in New York, and the closeness that you share with my mother that has filtered down to the generations, that we all feel that we are part of the love that the two of you shared with each other before. Mazal Tov.
Savta, I don't know what to say. I want to thank you for being in my life. And I want to wish you happy birthday. And that every day of your life should be full of meaningful moments and heart connections and joy. Happy birthday, Savta.
So, Savta, have a happy birthday and a great year, and hopefully you'll have a lot of briut and a lot more years with us, and happy birthday.
אורה, אני אוהבת אותך, אני מאחלת לך עוד הרבה שנים טובות של אושר ושמחה עם המשפחה, ואני שולחת לך נשיקות וחיבוקים ואהבה.
אורה, תסתכלי סביב, תראי מי הכל יושב פה. וכמה אנשים, עשרות ומאות אנשים, היו רוצים להיות פה, ומבחינה טכנית אינם יכולים, אבל הם ודאי שולחים לך את איחוליהם. וכולם, כולם כמוני, מודים לך על חוויות, על למידה, על הזדמנויות לחוות חוויות שתורמות לאורך כל החיים. ואני באמת מודה לך על הדבר הזה, ומאחלת לך שתמשיכי להיות יוצרת ולהיות בחיק המשפחה שלך הנהדרת, ונבוא לחוג איתך בעוד 10 שנים שוב.
Mazel tov, Ora and Ezra, on your birthdays. Ad Meir Esrim.
Ora, happy birthday. I hope to have many, many more occasions to celebrate with you, to enjoy your warmth and wit, to see you reflect the joy and accomplishments of the grandchildren and the great-grandchildren, and of course the children. And I love you very much.
Ora, Jeff and I, wish you all the happiness in the world. We feel very fortunate to have known you and to continue to know you. We wish you nachat from your children and grandchildren, from your entire family, and we wish all of us to continue to have many, many more Shabbatot where we enjoy each other's company and learn from one another and share in each other's lives and experiences. Yom Huledet Sameach. Happy birthday, Ora.
Savta, happy birthday. I love you. I am very happy to be here celebrating with you. That's it. I love you.
Savta, hello. This is wishing you a very happy birthday and hoping that we have many more happy events like this together. And thanking you for being there for me and for us all these years.
Here we are at Ora at, I guess she's going to be 85, right? So she caught up to me, and we'll be going out to eat again on Thursdays, don't worry. You just get stronger, take your vitamins, and we'll do it again. Happy birthday, dear.
Orla and Ezra. Ezra, who's finally catching up on the rest of us, and Ora, I wish you good health. That's the main thing we wish each other at our age. Enjoy your day and enjoy your year and stay the way you are. Take care.
סבתא, אני רוצה לאחל לך עוד שנים טובות של שמחה ונחת מהמשפחה. שתמשיכי לקום כל בוקר עם כוחות מחודשים ושמחה, ושתמשיכי להיות חברה שלי, וזהו, אני אוהבת אותך, מזל טוב.
Ora and Ezra, I wish you a wonderful 80th and 80th. Ora and Ezra, I wish you a wonderful 80th and 85th birthday. May you have many, many more years of health and nachat, and enjoy your families, your wonderful grandchildren, great-grandchildren. And we look forward to seeing you at the 85th and 90th.
Ima, I want to wish you not only a happy birthday and many happy returns, but good years to come within whatever limits your body determines. But keep your spirits high and enjoy your life with Abba and with friends and relations and family, and may you feel well and many happy returns. And Uncle Ezra, I wish you the same. You're still 5 years apart from Ima, as has been for a long time. And I wish you years of health and happiness, both in America and here in Israel. Maybe we'll see more of you. And on this side of the ocean. And happy birthday to you both.
Happy birthday, Papa.
You want to say to Aunt Ora also happy birthday?
And happy birthday, Aunt Ora.
Ezra and Ora, many, many, many happy returns of the day. May you have many, many more good years, and together and separately, and only good things only good things for you.
Yep.
Happy birthday, Papa. Happy birthday, Aunt Ora. I hope we'll be seeing you a lot, as we've been seeing you a lot today. And Papa and Bobby, I hope you come to Israel and that we travel more together.
Ora and Ezra, this is a wonderful occasion, and I think it's wonderful that we're able to spend it together. I remember beautiful times that the two couples spent on vacation together. The Canadian Rockies, the American Northwest, Grand Canyon, and other places that my old man's memory doesn't return me to. And I wish all of you a happy time and a healthy future.
Ima and Uncle Ezra, I love you very much. I am deeply grateful for your presence in my life. I could not imagine my life without the ongoing support, attention, care, and love which you have provided for me from the very beginning. I thank you, and I wish you many more happy, healthy years together with your partners, with our family. In every possible way, I feel that you deserve to have a great rest of your life, reflective of the plenitude that you have imparted upon all of us. Thank you kindly. I love you. We love you very much.
Right. I want to wish Abba and Ora a happy 80th and 85th birthday, and I think we're extremely fortunate that we're all going to be together to celebrate this. I think that generation's given us a great model. You guys have given us a great model in terms of family being so important, and I'm really looking forward to all of us being together in Suba and at the Dead Sea. חג יום הולדת שמח.
מסר לסבתא אורה מהגן, סבתא אני אוהב אותך ודש לך.
Dear Safta Ora, this is for me, or your first grandson, I want to tell you that I love you and that I wish you a very, very happy birthday, and I hope to enjoy many more quality time with you and with Yitzchak. On behalf of me and my whole family, Feliza, Laila, Adam, and Rakia. Uncle Ezra, keep up the good work. We love when you come and visit. We'd be happy to see you in our house in the north. Come and visit.
Dear Safta and Uncle Ezra, so first of all, happy birthday. And you already have so much. You have families that love you, and many people who appreciate you and are good friends and love you. So all I can wish you is good health, many more years, many more happy family events, and many good reasons to meet and celebrate, and that's it. We all love you very much. Happy birthday.
I think, okay, I could like to wish happy birthday to Ora, to Ezra, and to Batya, whose birthday is just a couple of days before Ezra's, and who seems to be forgotten every time Ezra has a birthday party.
Thank you very much.
I'm very happy to have this opportunity to extend my best wishes and blessings to Ora and to Ezra on the occasion of their birthdays. And I look forward with them many years more of healthy, happy, pleasureful activity and satisfaction from our children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren, Ken Yerbu. Hoping that all of us will be part of the great building of the State of Israel and the strengthening of the Jewish people, my blessing to them and all the people who come to meet with them at this happy occasion. Thank you.
Ora and Ezra, these parties have become wonderful over the ages. I hope we have many more together, and I hope each of you have wonderful, happy, and healthy years surrounded by friends and family. Lots of love.
I think it's since I wanted through already, so I know it's an accomplishment to reach the age of 80, even though nowadays it's not a rare thing anymore. But still, that you function for such a long time and everything is, I mean, is something which we are lucky if we can function for such a long time. Or we call it sometimes siyata d'shmaya, which is an Aramaic, help from heaven. Right? It's because there are certain things in life which we cannot plan, you know. No matter what we do, it's to reach the age of 80 and thank God, I think he's healthy in Masaru, is a blessing, and I hope he go on for many, many more years. Perform like he did until now. Very nice.
So Ezra, when we sat on the porch in Lokonda and had all the interesting things that we did, who would have imagined that we would have then continued the friendship and reached the 8th or 9th decade, I suppose it is. And please God, I hope that we'll be able in good health and together and with a relationship and with our respective expanding families continue that kind of a relationship, and should have many, many more happy years and happy recollections. Ad Me'av Esrei.
Dearest Ora, happy birthday. Loving kisses. You keep going. You got to get up to my age and more. You can do it. You and yours. Bye.
Ora, I can't believe you're 85. What does that make me? You figure it out. I just want to wish you good health and joy and love from your family, love from me, and good things. And I hope you can continue to climb those steps to that apartment for many years to come.
Okay, Ima, I'm very happy to have this opportunity to speak to you directly on camera and to say what a pleasure and privilege it is to be your son, your eldest son, and to have spent so much of my life, in fact, all of my life, together with you and in contact with you. And I certainly hope and wish that this will continue for many more years, and we will continue to have a positive and loving relationship with all of my family and my wife and my children and grandchildren, ad 120, and everything should be for the good. Ezra, you're a very special uncle who I grew up with, staying in the same room, in the same home, and from my youngest years, I have known you, and it's always a special pleasure for me to come to visit you in Riverdale with you and Batya. It's like a home away from home, and I always feel warmth and hospitality and support, and I am grateful for this relationship, and I hope you too, and I, and in your life and your family will continue with good health in all facilities for many, many more years, עד 120.
ואני רוצה להגיד בהזדמנות הזאת שיום הולדת שלה ויום הולדת של עזרא, שאני מאוד מאוד אוהב אותה, שאני מאחל לה הרבה מאוד שנים ארוכות ובריאות, ושזה לא מובן מאליו, גם זה שיש לי סבתא וגם זה שיש לי סבתא נהדרת כמוה, ושאני אף פעם לא לוקח את זה כמובן מאליו. וזהו, הרבה מאוד אהבה.
Hi Safta, I'm sorry I couldn't be there. I had to be in the army for the weekend. I wish I could be there. I really do. I wish I could celebrate this with you and with all our family. But I just wanted to say how much I love you and how much I think you are a gift to this family, to the world, but to this family and to me especially. It wouldn't have looked the same without you, obviously, but I think you bring something into this family that is I haven't seen anywhere else, and you're one of the most caring people that I know, and this is a great age you have come to, and I'm very proud of you, and I wish to myself just to spend as many more years as I can with you. I remember when I just was going into the army, you sat me down and you told me, you're an actor. I've seen you in plays and you've been to drama class and you know how to play. So just take this experience as a play and just act as the person that you want to be. And I've done that, and it helped me so much, and I think you know exactly what to say to each and every person, and it's incredible. And yeah, so